we kept running into this problem of kids coming to tryouts and they weren't strong enough or skilled enough to make one of the teams. So they would get cut and they would show up at the next tryout and they weren't any more skilled or better than they were before. And it was this never-ending cycle of kids coming in. And what I noticed is these kids kept coming back. So there's something there, right? So if the kid keeps coming back to try, he wants to be a part of this thing. He has the fortitude, he has the energy, he has the, the will, the drive to keep pushing. So we figured out this program where we called it a practice player. He comes in, he's not strong enough to make the team just yet, so play in the games. But he comes to all the practices, he comes to all the trainings. And that way he can get stronger, he can learn development and get better in his craft. And then that way, the goal of that is for him to be able to get to a point where he can break into a starting lineup a little bit, break onto a team and be able to start getting those minutes. Now, for some of these practice players, their role may be, getting rebounds, or their role may be effort and energy, or their role, they may have a role on the team. But it's so awesome because the cool thing that we talked about was when the other guys realize that this practice player has now made the team, the celebration is unreal. Everyone's jumping up. We give the kid his jersey because they've watched his journey. And some of these practice players, they're practice players for 4 or 5 months. So on one hand, for a kid to say, hey, I'm gonna bust my butt and do everything it takes to get myself to a team. And now the other part of that is, while you're a practice player, you're watching other kids come to tryouts and make teams. So what does that say about this kid who looks up and sees other guys coming in and he still comes back and he's still pushing forward? A lot of these guys end up being a lot of our emotional leaders for these teams. And it's so inspirational to the other guys to see this kid working and just what they do and what they bring. So we love it. And we have guys now who are now broken into a team. We have guys who are just starting a practice player. And the other neat thing about that is now too, guys who used to be practice players, you'll see them walk over and talk to a new practice player. They know what it's like, and you'll see them, whether they put their arm around them or just say something to them or something positive, or when a kid who's really skilled walks over and says something, takes a little time and sits beside him, or because a lot of times the practice players may be the last guy getting back on the drill, or he may be the kid losing the ball a lot, or whatever it is. And when you see everybody support that in, you got one kid coming down the court trying to finish that drill, and you got 10, 12, or 30 kids, depending on which practice it is, and they're all clapping them in. It's a really cool feeling.